should do, should we do like some hashtag Ask Me Anything questions and we'll read them out on stream? Should we do some of those?
I think that could be quite a dangerous game, Demo.
But how about we do those maybe for the 4th match? So before we head into Clubhouse, guys, if you guys want to do the hashtag Ask Me Anything, where, what should we do? Hashtag CL questions? And then you guys just drop us a question and we'll read them out on stream, potentially, if it is going to be a good question. But hey, let's move into Clubhouse. We head into the banning phase and, well, double shield gone. Not surprising for a map like Clubhouse.
No, not surprising at all. We see those lanes like the dirt tunnel being used quite heavily. You get a Monty down there, or, you know, effectively defend it with a clash potentially. And it really can just completely shut off that lane for the attackers or defenders, whichever way round it's used. So not too much of a surprise there. Maverick coming in as we would normally see. And then the final one of Mirror. I think out of all the bans that Mirror sees, I think Clubhouse is probably one of the lower impact bans. She does have her uses on this map, but they are certainly lower than they are on other maps.
We do head into our first bomb site of the evening. It is looking to be set up for a church and arsenal room. Typically, I think we see that cash room being the more predominantly played. But maybe because we're seeing some change-ups, maybe we want to see Supremacy go for something a little bit differently. I think we may be seeing a rehost. Oh, look, Psychic. I'm Psychic, Tim. I told you this all along.
Certainly our Demo knows best.
I'm pretty sure everybody was Psychic. As soon as, you know, name something more iconic than a guy dropping out in the first minute or the first second of the round. Name something more iconic in Siege.
Don't think you can. So one of the Supremacy players just dropping out there, so we'll just take a quick rehost and you get to look at our faces for another. We get the players back into the lobby and get loaded back into that game. So we've got a nice fair 5 versus 5 in this Supremacy versus PACT game. So we can see who's the best, really, rather than who's got the match. So, yeah, looking at Clubhouse again, Demo, how do you think it's going to play out for these two teams? From your knowledge of the teams, what do you think we're going to be seeing? We're going to be seeing heavy roam, or we're going to be seeing turtle defense? What do you think we're going to be going for?
Well, for both of these teams, we haven't seen them play in a very long time. The only thing we know that they have been playing is scrims, and again, we don't really have that legacy of seeing scrim matches being played out, and that's more just for the players and their own safety, knowing that they don't have to worry about potential counter strategies, where it's not being observed or by anything like that. Certainly, looking at PACT the way they used to play, they were a very formidable foe going in towards last season. They held their own against a team like Ints, and certainly Supremacy, they did get put out very early on from the Pro League. They were the first team to be eliminated from the Pro League Season 8 in every region. So, yeah, they took a massive hit from their season going forward. They were dropped down into Challenge League. They got automatically relegated as they did finish 8th. So I think this is just more testing the waters for both these teams. I think for both of the teams and for everybody at home and for us as well. We don't have a lot to go off of them. The only real thing we can talk about is more so roster changes. For the most part, we know that Saves and Kendra is no longer part of the PACT lineup, which we know that's going to be a hefty hit. But still, there's players that can be replaced, and I'm certain that more than likely, we're going to see some different faces pop up now and again and maybe make a real staple for themselves.
Yep, I think you're right, and that's the beauty of it. Like you say, those rotations of players moving out to other teams ultimately just creates chances for, you know, new players to come through. You've still got, in a team like PACT, you know, that they've been in the Challenger League before, Supremacy as well. You've got the core of that team there that is still likely to get them qualified into the competition, and so it just gives those players that are waiting in the wings the opportunity to step up and get that level of competitive experience rather than having to, you know, just play on sort of lower levels. And you really do have to play better opponents if you want to improve and stretch your game.
I think also talking about some of the rosters for Supremacy, we know that Poseidon has made his return. Poseidon used to play on Supremacy, but it was the now Vitality Supremacy before they got picked up by Vitality, I think back in Year 2, Season 2, whenever they came from the Challenger League circuit themselves. So Poseidon's an old face that we haven't seen for quite some time, and this is maybe his chance to prove that maybe the old dog still has a couple of new tricks up his sleeve. So yeah, there's some new changes to Supremacy. They still have that main core. Looking back at, I believe it was Challenger League Season 7, where we seen the Supremacy roster qualify to Pro League along with IDK, now known as Team Secret. A player known as Alive was a real big standout player for me during that season. I thought he was one of the top fraggers coming out of that league, and even looking at whenever he moved over in his time at Mokka along with Panix, then yeah, again, another formidable fragger for that team. He did kind of lose his way a little bit going into that second half of Season 8 whenever he went back to Supremacy, and then they did eventually fall out of that Pro League. But still, I think the Live did struggle a little bit, and I'm really hoping he can get himself back into that great form that he used to be. You know, the guy was popping heads, 4Ks, left, right, and center. I hope to see that again from him. But then again, PACT, they still have players there. They have Deep, they have Darius, they have Magic, that main triple core that we seen play at DreamHack Winter. They've played against some big opponents. They played against teams like Empire, teams also like Lestream, who they actually did beat, I believe, on the main stage, or it might have been the offline match, but they did beat Lestream at DreamHack. So there is quality there inside that roster. It's just how will things set the pace and the tone going into a map like Clubhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. And pace and tone is really what Clubhouse is all about. As I said earlier, it's, you know, which way are you going to play it? Are you going to play the heavy roam game, which is now available after that remodel that we saw, opening up the top floor and just allowing those multiple rotation options? Or are you going to play it slow, steady, and with a turtle defense style, which is more than possible, particularly down in Church and Arsenal, but I've also seen it working very well on Cash and CCTV with 4 or 5 players on and around site and just defending heavily. But it looks like we've got all the players loaded back in, so we're going to get back over to the game now. Round number 1, Supremacy versus PACT, and we will be playing on Clubhouse.
So of course we already have seen the banning phase, and because that of course Ubisoft treated the observers with a massive revamp going into Season 8, that means that we can fill in details that we may not have gotten way back when. So the bans still stand as Maverick, Montagna, Flash, and Mira. Talking about the bans, I know that, Tim, we were going to have a nice little discussion about the bans before we did see a Ray host. Maverick, no-brainer. We know that's a no-brainer. But then, also looking at a Clash ban. We never really seen those, but we also seen it last matchup. Is this simply because that new sidearm pistol is fully automatic? Is that the reason why? Just a small little tweak?
I can't imagine that it's the whole reason why, but like you say, we've certainly seen it a couple of times tonight where we haven't previously seen many Clash bans. So there's obviously something changing. Like you say, we know that there's been the change to that sidearm. So would it have such a big impact? I don't know. I'd be surprised, but there's certainly something that's putting these teams off taking or playing against the Clash.
Yeah, I think that Clash still provides that intel. You know, intel is the key to Rainbow6 Siege. We talk about that triple threat of the Maestro, Mira, Echo. What do they all provide? Intel. What does Clash do? Intel. There's things there that always follow suit with having an immovable object that you can't really do much about. She's looking at you. She's going to stun you. She's going to slow you. She's going to relay information. Again, guys, apologies, but I believe that we also have an issue with the Observer PC. So it seems to be that we've frozen at the moment. But hey, we'll get back into it as much as we can.
We'll get there.
Eventually, we will see this. That's a demo promise. You don't get many demo promises, do we, Tim?
I get plenty of demo promises, but publicly...
No. That's only at LAN, and you know that's why it's at LAN.
Publicly, I think they're far less common, so...
But yeah, this we'll eventually see the ending, I hope anyway, of this matchup. If I'm not mistaken, what we have been relayed is that Supremacy did take the first round. So that is something to keep in mind. Another point, Tim, that I wanted to talk to you about is Tide. I hope, Milosh, if you're watching, I hope I've said that right. I hope I've done you proud. Please don't massacre me, all because I can't say Kide right. Probably wrong. I'm guessing it's wrong because he kind of says like with like a kuh, like that kind of, you know, the phlegm in the back of your throat kind of noise.
I love Milosh's ability to pronounce, I think, anything in any language.
He is the multinational, multi-language caster.
He really is.
I literally, at Paris, I seen the guy speak to me in English, speak French to then a waiter, and then a guy from Ubisoft, I think it's the Arabic region. Then he starts speaking in Arabic, all in the space of like 30 seconds, and I was just sitting there amazed.
Unbelievable mental agility.
It's just, I don't know how he does it. It's madman.
But back to your question about Kaid, and I presume the remainder of that question was going to be what sort of impact do I see him having moving into the competitive scene? Obviously, we all know what Nomad's capable of, but Kaid is quite an interesting one because the trick is considerably more difficult than a bandit trick. I think that's going to take some perfecting. But when teamed up with an operator, potentially, I'm thinking for areas like Oregon Laundry, potentially, where we've seen the Laundry just sort of slipping out of favour a little bit, especially without the mirror available a lot of the time due to bans. I think just seeing him coming back into the Laundry meta, possibly, when combined with a mute, that can be extremely difficult to deal with because the Thatcher EMP comes out or has to come out to deal with the mute, and that is the trigger for Kaid to throw his charge, his electrical, up onto the hatch, trick that thermite charge or Hibana charges that are already sat on there. So you then have to maybe use 2 consecutive EMPs. Thatcher only has 3, and that starts to become very difficult to actually manipulate and use up enough to burn up enough of that mute and Kaid utility combined. If you're putting some real energy into keeping hold of the front hatch or one of the rear hatches, it gets very, very difficult with those 2 operators. So I think once we start to see, it's going to be a little bit more intricate, but when we start to see him combined with operators more in that way, we could see him coming into the Pro League meta.
I think that Kaid is in a good place at the moment. Of course, that's all subject to change. We haven't seen the pros have fun with him yet. But from my understanding, that having only 2 Electro Claws does limit him a little bit, especially for a map like Clubhouse. You just can't go around and put a Electro Claw on each drop hatch. You have to think about what you're going to place it on and why you're doing that. Maybe you want to try and go for the Kaid trick, like we've discussed. But then again, you only have 2 of those. All it takes is 2 Thatcher EMP grenades, and that's Kaid's utility gone. That's everything he wants to do is disrupt those hard breachers just out the window. So yeah, I think there's disadvantages to it as well.
Yeah, I think by reducing him to 2, like you say, it's put him in a good place. It makes him definitely a risk-reward operator. If you can get it right, and that's the key here, if you can get it right and time it right, then yep, his value is definitely there, especially on those hatches, something that Bandit can have very little, if any, impact over whatsoever. But, you know, that brings us to the question that there are a number of the hatches that have got soft floors around them, and we're seeing a real rise in impact tricking now. And that's not too much of a surprise, seeing as we've had the drop-off in Bandit tricking, and the Kaid tricking is a little bit more difficult. Not too much of a surprise to see that impact tricking being used more.
Yeah, I still think it's very common. I think that teams have really caught on that, yes, it's a very pesky thing to get away with. It's very awkward for a lot of the attackers to kind of play around that, especially whenever, you know, you don't want to put yourself at going for the thermite charge simply because a potential C4 could just send you flying. That's the whole thing about that kitchen dropper, is that, yes, it can be impact trick, stops the X-Kairoses, but then if you want to try and stop that impact trick and then go for, you know, the thermite and try and trick the thermite back and forth, then you just get C4'd and that's your utility gone either way. This is where I think teams will then start to rotate a lot more towards those church wall pushes, because they're so much more safer to get rid of. We're going back to that year 1 meta, whenever it was just thermite as our only hard breacher. We didn't have a banner back then. And whenever you have operators like Glaz, like Dokkaebi, who can cause a lot of disruption, a lot of nuisance for defenders wanting to anchor down hard in towards that church, then yeah, that causes problems for the defense. But then it comes back to team comp. If you're going to take Glaz and Dokkaebi, who are you then sacrificing? Are you going to get rid of your soft destruction? Are you going to get rid of Sledge? Are you going to get rid of Buck? What options do you have to go for that push?
Yeah, and as time goes on, that's something that we're seeing more and more. As you say, we're extending the operators every 3 months. We still have new operators coming into the game, and that certainly doesn't look set to slow down. So those 5 spots become more and more and more valuable. Like you say, once upon a day, it was an easy choice. You want a hard breach, you've got a thermite. That's it. If you now choose to take thermite and Hibana to open hatches and walls, like you say, that's 40% of your team. Who are you maybe dropping for that? Are you losing out on an IQ? Are you losing out on that sort of, that sort of utility that's going to maybe clear out an Echo, clear out a Maestro, things like that? So, yeah, it's a great question that you pose there. And as time goes on, that question is going to become more and more prominent.
Especially whenever the way Siege is going, we always have new operators joining the fun. As, of course, we are inside of our year number 4 of Siege. Who would have thought it got this far? Again, fantastic game. It's only going to get better from here. But anyway, back to our Challenge League action as we head in to the re-hosted game between Supremacy and PACT. Supremacy currently 1-0 up. We head back down to a Church and Arsenal room defense, but we didn't get to see this last time. So what did we miss out on, I wonder?
Who knows? Obviously, anything would be a guess and conjecture, but we will certainly see what Supremacy do in this round. I think, on Clubhouse, if you can steal 2 or 3 attacking rounds, if you can come out of this 3-all and get onto your defence, I think you're sitting quite pretty with that. I think you're quite happy with that. Especially with the strength of a site like Church and Arsenal for the defenders. If you can steal a couple of wins down here, then you're starting to look good. And interesting to see the Kaid coming out there. The electrical being applied very early. We don't have a Thatcher on the attacking side. We don't have anybody who can clear that out particularly. We don't have the Twitch on there. We don't have anybody really designed to take electronics out. So that is potentially going to keep those 2 hatches safe.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that they're not going to go for the Thatcher pick. Again, I don't think Kaid was 6th picked in this scenario. So, yeah, you see that operator is going to be stationed there. Why not just bring the Thatcher? Potentially they were expecting a different bomb site. You know, you bring Blackbeard. Blackbeard isn't really the best operator for this bomb site. Yes, he has his advantages pushing down in towards blue or in towards construction. But that's just a one-way angle where as soon as someone knows you're in that corridor, I'm sure Legion will rotate, start stacking up those goo mines and make it really awkward for the Blackbeard to start trucking it down in towards those tunnels. The Jews will start things off, trying to see if he can find an early pick. Saw a glimpse of, I believe it's the Kaid, but then just pulls his angle as Kaid does scurry back to the safety of his bomb site. And well, this is good from Supremacy. Early pressure lets the players of PACT know that yes, we are here, we are waiting for you, do not peek us.
Yep, good top floor control gained by Supremacy, and it's just all about how they can build on that now and where they can go from here. They've got a couple down there now. DJ's and Alive at the bottom of main stairs. K6 just holding his angles upstairs from that floor that's been opened up, and we've got Tactis just waiting there on the Blackbeard in oil pit for that push into blue. His drone will be taken out, so potentially, depending where he was moving that in from, they might know that he will be coming. The Jaeger just holding fast for the time being. Darius just waiting to see if any action comes through blue. It's not somewhere that you want to give up. It's a very powerful location, especially for the late round pushes that we tend to see on this side. Always tends to be a bit of a bloodbath down in Church and Arsenal, with all kills flying in 15-20 seconds of each other. But Optic is going to get us started out there with the first kill onto DJs, and that's going to clear the Zafir out from the bottom of main stairs. Coming into the final minute, 5 versus 4, and Alive will just even things up with a kill on the Ash, taking Aura off the board. Tactis onto Darius, so that swings things back in the favour of Supremacy now. 4 versus 3, 38 seconds to go. 4 versus 3. The diffuser is in hand, so they can start thinking about how and where they get this down. Poseidon now moving downstairs with it, so it's going to be on site momentarily and available to be planted. 20 seconds to go. He's going to drop into Moto. Needs to start thinking about how and where this plant is going to go down, because the time is running low. The impact nade is going to open up that wall and just offer another rotation, another angle of attack for PACT. But Optic will get a double through there. Magic with 2 of his own as well. And how about that? 4 quick kills inside about 3 seconds as predicted. Always comes down to the finish. And that will be the round for PACT.
Well, that was a bloodbath and a half, you have to admit. That is your sums up clubhouse in its entirety. You run down the clock, the attackers put so much pressure onto you, and then all of a sudden, things just go completely wrong as one defender plays massive, and that's the push stopped in its tracks. So, we do see PACT respond, as in they will head to their CCTV room and cash room for their next defense. What are we expecting? Well, more than likely a bit of a roam game coming in from Optic. He's playing the Pulse. I'm expecting the C4 from below. Great deniability, and also Pulse can provide good utility and intel with that cardiac scanner, being able to call out to his teammates. I'm curious for the castle barricades. These are ones I'm really interested in, because castle's an operator that we don't see all too often for this bomb site.
Yeah, I will definitely be interested to see where they go demo. Gym and bedroom, you'd absolutely expect to see the castle, just to try and protect that hot tub wall a little bit. That's not too much of a surprise to see one on the single CCTV window. It can be an absolute nuisance, but that said, it's also going to be quite an easy one to clear out. They've got the Ash there, can just quite easily get one of those breaching charges on from externally if they choose to do so. So we'll see what happens with that, whether Supremacy choose to leave that in place or not. We're going to see an early entry here from Alive on the Ash, just going to clear out that barbed wire, shoot out for any potential lesion mines, but we don't have a lesion on the board, so that's not going to be something that he needs to worry about this time. Tactics going to be moving in, but again, that castle barricade, not a bad location there, just holding off that angle from the main door to the top of Blue Stairs area. So again, that's just creating a little bit of a safe space for them, where they can rotate back into garage and through that way if they need to get back to site, or they've also got the cache stairs as well. So not a bad idea. Alive now moving into stock, and he's going to get a great first kill on to Optic. That's going to take the Pulse off the board, and that could be that C4 deniability that you were talking about, Demo.
Yeah, again, that's going to be your main use of intel. That's the C4s off the board. That's something that you really need to consider and, of course, play into. You're now lacking the fact that you don't exactly know the correct positions and where players are going to be playing. You have to either play off instinct, which is, again, probably never the best thing to go for, because that could lead 2 ways. Either, yes, you get a kill, or certain death, which typically is the outcome. You still have roamers below. You still have Magic. He's playing aggressive as a mute, just lurking below. Again, has a C4. Could use that to great utility, with still a good amount of time for Supremacy. They're going to have to start getting things moving, and, well, I'm quite curious to see how this run's going to play out, because it could go either way.
Yep, it certainly could. Alive just holding an angle. He gets the shots there onto Magic. What a kill for Alive. He's really putting in a shift for his team this round. That single window has now been opened up, and Tactics is just going to play there on the Blackbeard, but what a good jump out from deep there, just to take that dangerous operator of Blackbeard with the shield off the window. But pressure is now being applied from construction. That's going to leave deep on about 5 health, and there comes the Ash charge kill from Alive. How about that? You don't see too many of those. Alive just really maximizing these hit points here. Every time he loses 5 or 10, he seems to get another kill. So that's going to be now 4 versus 2, and it's time for PACT to start getting aggressive. That's what Darius does, moving out and getting the kill onto DJs as he holds himself outside on the rooftop there. So Aura just waiting, keeping an angle on that window. Darius being patient at the top of the stairs there, but Alive will know where the Jaeger is. It looks like the pressure is going to mount. They're just holding the angle there. The cache is actually going to stop them seeing, but Alive will still get the kill. That's the 3rd for him. K6 finishes things up with the final kill. That is a great round from Supremacy. Alive doing all the work there.
Yeah, Alive, a guy I said that I was expecting big things from. I've seen this guy before. He has great qualities of being a great fragger, great aim, great game sense. He's proved it there once again, especially an operator like Habana, who we typically see more as a supporting role. But Habana could frag just as any other fragger can, because she's still a free speed. Has a great gun, has 2 great guns in that aspect if you also count in the Bearing 9. A lot of things going for Hibana currently inside of the meta, and once he does use that utility, he can just play free range and go off on one.
Moving into round number 4, then we're going to see a second attempt at Cash and CCTV, and this is going to be a tough one for PACT. I sort of like what they did with the castle, trying to create that safe space just out in the area between Garage and Cash stairs. It did allow them the rotates, but it didn't seem to have too much impact. Alive moved into stock very well and got a good early kill onto the Pulse, and that really fired things up for Supremacy, and then Alive basically didn't stop killing for the rest of the round. I think what PACT need to do here is they need to shut down at least 1 or 2 of those lanes. I'd like to see, they did have some pressure applied from construction last time, and that really did not help them. I'd like to see them maybe play a man or 2 out in bedroom and just cut off that lane, just really hold that lane so that it then pushes Supremacy to have a more one-sided attack, potentially from double wall, potentially from Garage.
Once again, Alive, he will start droning himself in. He seems to be playing as a lone roamer, that lone fragger where Supremacy just let him do his own thing, let him do what he wants. The guy's playing insane. Already the first 2 kills come in. Darius finds D-Juice before Tactics also finds Or. As we head in, and, well, not much has really happened too far. I think it's just more of the main prep phase. Alive still hasn't really entered the building, still just waiting, and they know at least someone is going to be roaming in towards that western side of the map, and Magic, he will be there, and uses the C4 as a connector. Interesting play. I question.
Always an interesting use of utility.
I really question.
We have to question that one. Alive is going to just put that breaching charge underneath the normal bandit trick area, but he's not going to find anybody there. He will, however, find the head of Darius, and that will take the Jaeger off the border. Important operator for PACT last time. And how about that from Magic with a nice reverse hatch kill onto Alive. So that is going to teach them a little bit of a lesson about making sure that they clear everybody out. And that will leave us now 3 versus 3. 1 minute 10 to go. And PACT not looking terrible here, but as I say that, K6 moves in with a kill of his own onto Optic Deep. Is potentially going to come together with K6, but he will lose out there, and that now leaves us 3 versus 1 very quickly. It sort of looked so good for PACT, but they just haven't been able to capitalise on that. Magic now is out in the cold in Garage. The diffuser is going down. 1 versus 3, he's got it all to do. He's going to move in through the Garage window. He's got one on rappel. He will take shots, but he will survive. Moves through into the cash room area, and it was a matter of time. Supremacy had the angles held down. Poseidon gets the final kill. That's going to tie things up for Supremacy. Great attacking play so far from the French team.
It seems to be that, yes, PACT are putting a lot of emphasis on actually going for the room game, which is a correct thing whenever you are playing with C4s. Of course, you don't really play with C4s if Magic is using C4s to make connectors over towards the bar side, which Supremacy have no interest whatsoever in going towards. It seems to be Supremacy are just going to rely heavily on that great pinch and push tactic where they have the main planter go in, tries to go for the plant, and then you have about 4 different angles being held, waiting for one person to peek that planter. It works well. Yes, you are very susceptible to C4s from below, but nobody is capitalizing for PACT on it. I'm very surprised by that.
Moving into round number 5, then we see Supremacy take a commanding early lead of 3-1 on the attack. I'm sure they're going to want to extend that even further. If they could get 5-1 on the attack on Clubhouse, I'm sure they'd be very happy. Darius just having to scuttle away before the impact nade of Magic gets thrown at that soft wall to open the rotation. So that's going to leave us with Tactis now just pushing in from that construction spawn. Again, I think Supremacy just need more of the same. They've been locating the PACT players within the map very well. They've then been challenging in 1s and 2s, and they've been winning those gunfights. So I think that's going to be something that they're going to look to continue into this round. We've just got the early droning going on. Blackbeard there just getting his drone in and around as well, just trying to locate any of those roamers. I think, really, it's just more of the same from Supremacy here.
That seems to be very dictative in how they're progressing, how they are starting to perform. K6 will start to work over in towards that construction, and instead of going for the Kyroses over towards, you know, the numerous hatches, they're going to use one of them to allow their Blackbeard to work on in. I'm interested to see how Tactics will play on the Blackbeard. You know, they're bringing the Blackbeard so he can just straight away push on through. Oh, having fun, Tactics. Having so much fun. Oh, there you go, finally. I was getting worried there for a minute.
Got there.
Very worried.
Got there. Alive pushing in past the kitchen area then. The Ash doing Ash things. 3-speed all the way down towards site. Is going to open up that soft wall into the B site and just move back onto stairs and just help get a bit more control up there. Work the hatches possibly. We're going to see Deep as the Kai down in Moto, just trying to defend that hatch, just trying to push things back. He will get droned out. He'll take a shot, but he will miss that one. So the Supremacy attack has been lined up now. It's all set. We've got 5 PACT defenders down on site. We've got a minute left nearly in the round, and it's all about the execute. This site is always a bloodbath. So moving through into, we've got Darius in the blue corridor there. Less than 1 minute to go now. Down come the flashbangs. That's just going to burn those ADSs at least, but it's going to use up the remainder of that Ash utility. We've got 1 left, but I don't think we're going to see that one used just yet. Saving that one for a rainy day. Is the drop going to come here? Is the challenge into blue? She's just holding the angle at the minute. There goes that final stun now, and ADS will pick that up very late in the process, but Alive will drop down and get a great kill onto Darius to fire things up. K6 one of his own onto Optic. Tactis onto Magic. Aura will get one back onto Alive, so that is the Ash going down. We see a challenge into Moto, but just shots being missed there. DJus gets the kill on to Deep, so that's going to leave us 3 versus 1 now, or has it all to do? Gets the first kill onto DJu, brings it back to 1 versus 2. The Maestro will probably hear the plant going down here. Poseidon will make it stick, but won't need to, as K6 moves in and gets the kill onto Aura there. So great plays again on the attack from Supremacy, really dominating the round, really able to just hold those angles for as long as we need to. We saw Alive on that hatch overlooking blue for a good 30 seconds before making that push. Just held back, and dropped at exactly the right time to get the kill onto the Jaeger, and that really fired things up in that round for them. We saw K6 get a kill almost immediately after, so that suggests good comms to me. The pushes all come in at the same time and from multiple angles. We can see there Alive and K6 really doing the business with 12 kills between them. We see the PACT team slightly different with kills more evenly spread across the board, but they just don't have that one sort of impact player that you need sometimes, and unfortunately for them, Supremacy this time have 2, and that is causing them a real problem. One of the things they really need to focus on doing is getting Alive and K6 shut down, but sometimes that is not always in your hands depending what's going on. So looking towards round number 6 now, we are 4-1 in favour of Supremacy. I'm sure they're going to be keen to get this final attacking round sewn up so that they can get themselves into the half at 5-1, and then they just need a couple of rounds on the defence, and we can see Alive already making those aggressive approaches again. Tactis looking to get towards Garage. We've seen him work into Oil Pit and down through Blue Corridor a number of times now with success. And it's just about getting, as I've said, those multiple angles, those crossfires. So we've got Alive now looking to clear out these top floor roamers. I don't know how much drone work has been done up here, but he's certainly heading up there for a reason. Considering that it's a bottom floor hold, they must know. We can see we've also got Tactis, we've got DJs with him as well, so they are certainly looking to encircle those roamers and to at least get trades, if not just to get clean kills. So we're going to see the Tactis Blackbeard now moving in. He's coming together with Magic possibly. Magic will drop, will be seen by Alive, but it won't be enough as Magic gets these shots in, and that will be a headshot onto Alive, taking him off the board. Meanwhile, Tactis does get the second of those roamers with Darius. Magic playing a bit of havoc at the moment and getting a kill onto DJs. So the Alibi definitely doing what his team needs and firing things up. They desperately need to get this second defensive round on the books before they move on to the attack. Just again using that shotgun pistol to great effect. They've left the hatch soft so he can just shoot that out and rotate when he's ready. He's wasted half of the round, and that is great plays from Magic so far with 2 kills. Tactis going to get a kill onto Deep, just putting those Blackbeard face shields and the assault rifle to great work from the hatch there. So that's going to level things up. 3 versus 3 now, Supremacy. Looking to start applying some pressure to site. I think from the silhouettes we can see that all of PACT are now back on site. I think the player in blue has just been spotted out on that drone there, so Tactis is going to be looking to attack that. And I'm not too sure about that. That was a bit of an easy spot to give away, but I suppose if you're up on top floor, it's not going to do you too much damage. But we've got Thermite now about to open up the kitchen hatch. Ooh. 50 seconds to go.
That was very close. He nearly went flying, and that's again what we bring back to with that point. Magic will engage, loses the gunfight to the Thermite. You with the MX4 Storm should never lose that. Magic, not the best play from you. Optic still using that cardiac scanner, knows there's going to be one inside of kitchen, as the hatch will get opened up eventually by K6, as he will start rotating in towards the central stairs. You still have Optic lurking in the back, trying to play off that C4 hole that he did try and make himself to kill that Thermite. Drones come in, and well, the drone attracts the attention of the Maestro. Optic does get the diffuser off Poseidon after he drops the hatch, while against Blackbeard and K6 from the hatch. Blackbeard in this position should do the work, but no, K6 beats him to it, and Supremacy, with an incredible first half for themselves, they take the lead 5 rounds to 1.
What a turnaround from Supremacy there. We saw Magic do some great work in the early stages of that round on the Alibi. Got himself a couple of kills on the roam, managed to keep himself alive, got himself all the way back to site, did very, very well, and he's every right to feel a little bit frustrated for his team not coming away with a better result on that round. But PACT now moving on to the attack. That's going to just refresh them a little bit. We'll see if they can hit that reset button and see if they can just do anything different now that they are on the attacking phase. That said, we've got a lot of confidence across. We've got 6 and 7 kills. K6 alive and Tactis having great games so far. Put them on the defense, and I think this could get tough for PACT from here. So we are moving into round number 7. 12 seconds left on the preparation phase. We're just going to see K6 moving around and getting the vault cams out. We're going to see one placed in garage. Can be quite an important location, as we saw Tactis using that to great effect, dropping into the oil pit and then moving through blue corridor. So that's going to be something that they want to avoid, I'm sure, or just going to be shooting out that garage door, ready to allow a quick entry potentially if the drones are already in there for him, shouting out that there's no real hard challenge in there in terms of operators. We've got Alive playing the Jaeger down in blue that we've seen already from PACT, not really to too much success. But that being said, he's going to still try nonetheless, and he's just going to push up now and get a little bit aggressive onto those blue stairs. But at the minute, there's nobody challenging. We've got the Ash of Ore there just pushing into garage, but cautiously. Quite a cautious approach so far from PACT on the whole, really. Not wanting to push anything too quickly. The Jaeger just getting drawn out there, but that won't matter too much as he was already rotating back to site. We can see we've got Aura dropping down into the oil pit there, and we're going to have Magic just supporting on the Nomad from the blue hatch, but to no joy so far. Just going to stop any potential rotate from the top floor there, and K6 on the Valkyrie just looking to play some shots through into blue corridor, see what he gets.
Yeah, those Nomads, they're going to come in pretty big, those air jabs, especially on a map like Clubhouse where you do have options in terms of flanking. Yeah, that's going to be a great bit of utility. Sometimes we like to see Nomads play aggressive. They're going to use that utility just for sitting back and letting the defenders just beat themselves up at that stage. First kills come in. Optic finds tactics before DJus has the kill onto Magic. Alive playing aggressive. Sees a person run across the screen. Gets it down. And just aggressiveness is the key for Alive. Aggressiveness is the key. Clean house for Supremacy. And Alive. Massive from the Jaeger. My oh my. Supremacy.
Supremacy, very, very dangerous at the minute. Players like Alive playing with a lot of confidence now, and that makes them very, very dangerous. As you see, they're even willing to just whip out the pistol at the end there for that final gunfight, and still got the down, and then managed to finish it off for a very nice quick 3k at the end there just to finish things off. And I think he might have had one in the early round as well, so a possible 4k from Alive on that one.
This could be, yet again, another very early finish. If you think about it, our first match started at 7-3, then we went 7-2. Could we be looking at a 7-1?
Imagine what score we could see in the M&M Vitality game demo.
Ooh.
Could we see a 7-0?
Don't, because that would be disappointing.
In one way it would, but to see one, for how good the other team would have to play to do that, I think it'd be exciting to see.
I think that would just be just a disappointing moment, I think. It's kind of like the similar way from DreamHack Winter, whenever Empire and G2 played each other in semi-finals. That was one of the most hyped matches for quite some time. And then it was just... meh.
Yeah.
The best way to put it.
Moving into round number 8, then we're going to have match point in favour of Supremacy, and at this stage, I'll be honest, I would not, if I were a gambling man, be putting any money against them. They really have weathered everything that's been thrown at them. They've responded very well, they've adapted round to round, and they are looking very, very solid as a team. Great stuff from them so far. We're going to see them in a cache and CCTV location this time. Again, in comes the drone work. This is something that we've seen from PACT. They are very keen, as are most teams, in getting that good drone work done or getting the first kill onto DJus. So if anything's going to stop this Supremacy steamroller, it's going to be kills like that. So that's just going to open things up with Legion going, and that's an important operator to take off the board early on. That's some good utility gone there with those goo mines lost.
It just allows a player like Optic, whenever the final push comes in, doesn't have to worry about those goo mines. At most, I believe there's going to be, potentially 3 goo mines actually placed inside of the bomb site. That's really nothing compared to potential 7 if that Legion went unchecked. Alive playing on the back stairs off that main hallway. He heard that air jab. I hope he did anyway, so he should just bide his time. If he wants to try and challenge against an air jab, sure. From the position he is in, I think he could potentially shoot the air jab from the side of the stairs. I think he could do it.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about whether he's heard it and whether he can find it. How about the knife from Alive there? It's like I said, you've got that confidence. He's just doing whatever he wants at this stage.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's magic. Oh,
How long have you been waiting for that one, Demo?
I've been waiting for a while, but actors, they're not waiting around as they're already inside of the bomb site. C4 goes off right beside the Thermite. K6 picks up, finds one, finds 2. All he has to do is find one more, and this will be all she wrote. Darius in a 1 versus 3. What can you do in the dying seconds? Nothing. As Alive is there, finds Darius. And well, Supremacy putting down a flag, saying we are not to be trifled with. And Alive putting out a big name for himself this match.
Yeah, unfortunate there. I have to say, I think Supremacy have gone out and won that one. They really have played well. They've not messed about. They've won all the gunfights. Look at that, 13-4 from alive. You know, absolutely no prisoners taken there. K6 on 8 as well. Great stuff from Supremacy. I like what I see.